But dude, you got a pistol over there that's like gold plated. During all the breaks, I just stand there and I look at it. It's in a man's DNA to acquire, to build, to have a legacy, to have his fingerprint left on the planet. Now all those things are being told that those are toxic things. A toxic man is passive aggressive. He doesn't know how to set boundaries and expectations. He doesn't know the please and thank yous, won't stand up to shake hands, won't make eye contact.
The demasculinization of men. I know it's a passionate topic for you.
Yeah.
How is this happening? This has been going on. I've seen businesses pop up that are, I guess you would call, combating the demasculinization of men for probably close to a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, I got to be honest, I didn't think it was a real problem. Fast forward 10 years, it's a real problem.
Yeah.
A big problem.
Yeah. Would you agree that it accelerated after the pandemic or during the pandemic, this whole tearing down of masculinity?
Yes.
Right?
I would.
Yeah. And I saw that too. And up until the pandemic, dude, I love talking about business. I told you during breakfast, I have a very narrow zone of genius, and it is to create businesses and make lots of money. That's my zone of genius. And so I had a podcast called the Empire Podcast where I was like, hey, everything I'm doing in business, I'm just going to teach freely on this podcast and build an audience. And I might get some coaching clients out of it, or I might get someone who wants to give me equity in their business that I can help scale. But in the meantime, I'll give free information because I could also, it was a creative outlet and great way to serve people. So for 4 years, man, I had the Empire Podcast and was just teaching business and entrepreneurship, leadership, making money, scaling, etc. During the pandemic, but I always saw that there's something happening with tearing down masculinity. And I started thinking to myself that if I wanted to take all my friends who are former military across all the different branches and all you guys who are special operations, I'm like, hey, each of you from special operations are going to lead us civilians into this attack onto Canada. Just bear with me here. We're going to attack Canada. We're going to take over Canada. I need you guys that have the military background to lead us. We're going to be your military. Now, if we're going to do that, and we're going to attack Canada, are we worried about the children of Canada being our opposition? Probably not. Are we worried about the elderly in Canada being our opposition? Probably not. We can overthrow them. What about the women? We can definitely not worry about them. No offense to them. Women are strong, but they're not about to be opposition to a military force that's coming in. The only hope for Canada are probably the military-aged men who are going to stand up against us as an opposition while we're invading. But instead of invading, if I'm like, hey guys, let's go ahead and spend the next 3, 4, 5 years softening them up first. Not by bombing them, carpet bombing them, or whatever it is that, the conventional way, but let's use propaganda in the source of media, television, social media, movies, churches and schools. Let's go ahead and use that as well to indoctrinate and educate. And let's slowly encroach on their freedoms. Let's start with their freedoms of, let's say communication, of expression. So that First Amendment. And then let's go ahead and encroach on their Second Amendment, which is there to defend the First. Now, let's assume Canada had the same constitution that we do. So now let's go ahead and take what is factory installed in a man, a desire to test his strength, to have courage, strength, mastery of something, to acquire. Like all these things are healthy, man. They're normal. It's also men that have built buildings and empires and power plants and cruise ships, like a giant building with 5,000 people on it floating in the ocean. Like that is pretty damn impressive. It was some dude's idea to build that. Wow. But all that, the desire to build and to erect a monument to himself, because we, men, know that we are also instinctively, and it's a very intrinsic thing, we know without anyone ever telling us that we're also going to disappear as men. And when we do, yes, we might have kids who live on, but there's this desire, like, did I leave my fingerprint on this planet through a book, through a monument, through a thing that I built that people are using, a school system, through an education platform? Is there a bridge named after me? Do I live on, right? It's just somehow it's in every man. I don't know why that is. And I think it's tied to our purpose. Now that I think about it, it's tied to purpose. And the reason for that, as I keep exploring this, is because a woman has factory installed purpose. Like, she knows, like, since she was a little baby, everything is a baby. A puppy is a baby. She's nurturing it, dressing it, changing it, the dolls, everything, because it's in her DNA to want to have a baby and then nurture that baby. Like, that is factory installed purpose. You and I don't have factory installed purpose. We don't. We have to develop our purpose. We have to find it, develop it, grow it, build it, to be like, this is my life's work. This is why I'm on this planet. Who wants to join me, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have factory installed purpose. And so we find it and build it. So the bottom line is, all these things that men want, significance, legacy, purpose, acquisition of things. Like, you got some pretty cool stuff here that you acquired. I bet most women would be like, eh. But dude, you got a pistol over there that's like gold plated. During all the breaks, I just stand there and I look at it. And then you got, I don't know, some machine gun there. And I'm like, I don't even know what it is, bro. Like, I've got normal stuff, like civilian stuff. You got cool shit in here. I don't even know what it is, but I just, as a man, I'm like, wow, that's rad. Those coins, I'm just like looking at them. A woman would probably just walk by it, and that's okay, man. That's cool. So you've got this desire to acquire, like the samurai sword. All these things we want to acquire. It's in a man's DNA to acquire, to build, to have a legacy, to have his fingerprint left on the planet. Now all those things are being told that those are toxic things. Oh, you want to be big and bulky and muscular and grunt? That's toxic. You don't have to open the door for me. I'm an independent woman. I could do it myself. You're toxic. Oh my God. Dude, I was driving a few years back. I was in a Walmart parking lot. This lady had a flat tire. She's in her trunk trying to find all the things. Just roll down my window. Ma'am, can I help you fix that flat tire? And in my head, I'm already starting to turn in the empty spot next to her, because I'm thinking that's a for sure yes. No, I could do it myself. Okay. All right. Drove off, right? And so everything that is factory installed in us, when they tell you it's wrong and it's toxic and it's threatening, and you hear it from all the places that you trust, the movies that you watch, the TV shows, the social media platforms, and the influencers and thought leaders that you might follow, the school that you go to, the church that you're in, the leaders that you might have voted for, soon you begin to suppress that. So if we spend 3-4 years doing that to all the men in Canada, we could literally just cross the border and take over. And so I think what's been happening over the last 15 years, got even faster a decade ago, and it's been put on hyperspeed since the pandemic, is the demasculinization of men with the intent to gain greater amount of control and compliance of the citizens. And is it a one world government? I don't know. But I can tell you this. The goal is to homogenize everything. I can tell you it is money related. And I love making money because I do a lot of good with it. But money can also expose and enrage bad traits, greed, right? And so it's money related. And let's face it, if we can stop you from being competitive and trying to create the other thing, like we just want big corporations to create everyone to have the same iPhone, the same Tesla to drive. And nothing wrong with iPhone or Tesla or whatever, but give me choices, man. I want options. And if I think there's a better Tesla to be built, let me go out there and build it. Don't create so much bureaucracy where now it's and regulation where now it's near impossible for me to go compete unless I'm one of the important ones who's connected. And that's really what it is they want control and compliance. And the fastest way to do that is to strip away all the things that make you stand out and stand up against the opposition, which is masculinity. And then we say it's toxic. The term toxic masculinity doesn't exist. You're either a toxic man or you're a masculine man. A toxic man is passive aggressive. He doesn't know how to set boundaries and expectations. He doesn't know the please and thank yous, won't stand up to shake hands, won't make eye contact, won't open the door for someone to go through. I'll open the door for a guy, for a woman, for a child. It doesn't matter. My dad taught me to do the right thing. That's what a man does, right? I'll roll down my window and say, ma'am, do you need help changing that tire? That's what a man does. But now I might think twice about it because I'm being told from everywhere that this is toxic, that there's equality. And how do you take over the last freestanding country? Well, why bomb it to death when you can literally erode it by taking away the masculinity in the men who are going to stand up against the opposition?
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.